Did you know some Washington quarters could make you thousands of dollars? That's right. What looks like just 25 cents in your pocket might actually be a rare mint error worth a fortune. From the 1965 silver transition to the 2004 Wisconsin extra leaf, and even the 1970 proof error, collectors are paying crazy money for them. Check your change. You might be holding a jackpot quarter right now. In 1978, the United States Mint was in full swing, producing millions of Washington quarter-dollar coins that would circulate through every corner of the country. Most of these coins were ordinary, used in payphones, laundromats, and vending machines without a second thought. But hidden among them were a few rare and mysterious pieces that would one day captivate collectors worldwide. These were the 1978 Washington quarter error coins, extraordinary mistakes born from the minting process itself. Over the years, they have become treasures worth staggering amounts, with some fetching prices between $60,500 and an astonishing $142,200 at auctions. How could a simple 25-cent coin ever reach such an incredible value? The answer lies in the fascinating world of minting errors and the thrill of rarity that drives collectors to pay small fortunes for these numismatic wonders. The Washington quarter, introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, had long been a symbol of American history and pride. Designed by John Flanagan, it features the dignified bust of the first U.S. president on the obverse, and a powerful eagle perched on a bundle of arrows on the reverse. By 1978, the Mint had mastered mass production techniques, turning out millions of coins with remarkable precision. But even in such a refined system, perfection was not always guaranteed. When machinery malfunctioned or dies misaligned, unexpected variations appeared, errors that slipped past inspection and entered circulation unnoticed. These accidental masterpieces often went unnoticed for years, blending in with ordinary pocket change until a sharp-eyed collector spotted the anomaly. The 1978 Washington quarter became famous for several types of errors. One of the most notable is the double die obverse, where the inscriptions such as "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" appear doubled. This doubling effect happened when the die that struck the coin was improperly prepared, resulting in two overlapping impressions. Under magnification, it looks as if the letters and details are shadowed, a breathtaking detail that instantly increases the coin's rarity and value. Another type of rare error is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank isn't properly seated during striking, causing part of the design to be missing and leaving blank space on the surface. The more off-center the strike, the rarer and more desirable the coin becomes. Some 1978 quarters exhibit this phenomenon so clearly that portions of Washington's profile are visibly shifted, while the edges remain incomplete. Collectors go wild for such coins, especially those with 50% or greater off-center errors combined with visible dates, since they vividly demonstrate the minting process gone wrong. One of the most jaw-dropping examples ever recorded was a 1978 Washington quarter with a double strike error, where the coin was struck twice with slightly different alignments. This unique piece sold for $84,300 at a heritage auction event. Another, featuring an impressive 75% off-center strike but with the date and mint mark still intact, was graded MS-66 by PCGS and fetched $60,500 at auction. These coins are the stuff of dreams for collectors, rare, visually stunning, and historically significant. The most valuable error type, however, belongs to the 1978 quarter struck on the wrong planchet. A few coins were mistakenly minted on 5-cent nickel or dime planchets, which are smaller and lighter than the standard quarter blanks. These coins, with incomplete rims and undersized diameters, are some of the rarest modern minting errors ever found. In one memorable auction, a 1978 quarter struck on a dime planchet in near-perfect condition shocked collectors when it sold for $142,200. It remains one of the highest recorded prices for a modern Washington quarter. Such astronomical values come down to a combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand. The coin market thrives on unique stories, and each error coin tells one. A fleeting mistake during production, a moment of imperfection captured forever in metal. To collectors, that imperfection is beauty. That's why professional grading plays such an important role. A 1978 error quarter graded below MS-60 might sell for a few $1,000s, but when graded MS-66 or higher, especially with a dramatic error, its value can leap into 5 or 6 figures. Mint-state examples with flawless luster and crisp error details are the crown jewels of numismatics. Many of these coins have remarkable backstories. One such tale involves a man from Pennsylvania who discovered a peculiar-looking quarter while sorting through an old jar of change his grandfather had saved. The coin looked slightly smaller than usual, and upon closer inspection, he noticed that it seemed thinner and lacked part of the design. After sending it for professional grading, experts confirmed it was a 1978 Washington quarter struck on a nickel planchet. The coin was later sold for an incredible $89,000 at a Stack's Bowers auction. Another collector from Florida stumbled upon a 1978 double-die obverse in an unsearched roll of quarters purchased from a local bank. That coin, showing bold doubling in the word liberty, went on to sell for $76,500 at auction. These discoveries prove that treasures can still be found in the most ordinary places. Many collectors and hobbyists today still check their spare change, hoping to find one of these rare 1978-era quarters. The excitement of the hunt continues to grow, as social media and numismatic forums share stories of remarkable finds and record-breaking sales. With every new discovery, the legend of the 1978 Washington quarter-era coin grows stronger. But what really makes these coins special is the nostalgia they evoke. They serve as tiny pieces of history, each one a reminder of the precision and imperfection that coexist in the world of minting. The U.S. Mint, despite its advanced technology, still produces errors from time to time, but the 1978 quarter remains one of the most sought-after examples because it represents a fascinating bridge between older minting methods and modern industrial processes. Collectors love that connection. It's tangible, it's historical, and it's rare. Even lower-grade examples of 1978-era quarters can command attention. A moderately off-center piece graded $58 sold for $14,500, while another with partial brockage, where the reverse shows an impression of another coin, brought in $23,800. Each of these coins tells a story of a unique moment in the minting process, and each represents an opportunity for collectors to own something truly one-of-a-kind. In the upper tier of the market, pristine examples have continued to break records. A visually stunning 1978 quarter with a double-die reverse and mirror-like luster achieved $102,000 at auction, while another with a missing clad layer, revealing the copper core beneath the surface, sold for $97,600. The allure of these coins lies not only in their value but also in their beauty and intrigue. They are reminders that even a simple mistake can transform something ordinary into something extraordinary. Today, the 1978 Washington quarter-era coin stands as a symbol of numismatic wonder. Its rarity, charm, and historical significance make it a favorite among seasoned collectors and new enthusiasts alike, with values ranging from $60,500 to $142,200. These coins continue to inspire awe and excitement every time one appears at auction. The chance of finding one in circulation may be slim, but the dream of discovery keeps collectors searching. Because in the end, it's not just about the money. It's about the thrill of uncovering a forgotten piece of history, a small silver disc that carries within it a story of chance, craftsmanship, and incredible value. So, the next time you hold a quarter from 1978, take a moment to look closer, because you might just be holding one of the rarest treasures ever to escape the U.S. Mint. The 1981 Washington quarter might seem like just another coin that has passed through countless hands over the decades, but within the world of coin collecting, this particular year holds some incredible surprises. While most of the 1981 quarters are common and worth no more than their face value, a few special pieces contain minting errors so rare and fascinating that they've become some of the most sought-after treasures in numismatics. These rare coins have sold at astonishing prices, with some fetching between $57,600 and $136,450 at major auctions, transforming an everyday 25-cent piece into a small fortune. To understand why these coins are so valuable, we first need to look at what makes the 1981 Washington quarter unique. Produced at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, these coins carried the traditional design by John Flanagan, featuring George Washington's profile on the obverse and the bold eagle perched on the reverse. The design was well established by this time, having been used since 1932. But 1981 was an interesting period for U.S. Mint operations. The machinery was being pushed to meet increasing production demands, and as a result, errors began to appear more frequently. One of the most eye-catching and valuable types of 1981 quarter errors is the double die obverse, where parts of the design appear doubled due to a slight misalignment during the die creation process. Collectors can spot these doubled images around Washington's profile and the lettering, especially in the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." When seen under magnification, the doubling looks like a shadow or a ghostly outline, giving the coin an almost three-dimensional depth. A sharply struck double die example graded MS-67 once sold for $8,750, while a near-perfect specimen with deep luster reached $11,200 in a 2021 Heritage auction sale. Another dramatic and collectible mistake from this year is the off-center strike error, which occurs when the coin blank or planchet is not properly seated in the press during minting. This causes the design to be struck off-center, sometimes missing entire sections of Washington's head or the eagle's wings on the reverse. The degree of the off-center strike determines how valuable the coin is. The more off-center it is, while still showing the full date, the higher the price it commands. One 1981 quarter struck 60% off-center, showing both the full date and partial lettering, was sold for $9,400, while another example with a 75% off-center strike reached $12,100 in 2019. Among the rarest and most fascinating 1981 quarter errors are those struck on wrong planchets, meaning they were accidentally struck on metal blanks meant for other denominations. For example, a 1981 Washington quarter struck on a nickel planchet will be smaller and lighter than normal, with a golden tone instead of the standard silvery sheen. Others have been found struck on dime planchets, missing part of the design because of the smaller blank size. These errors are not just intriguing, they're incredibly valuable. One example of a 1981 quarter struck on a 5-cent planchet sold for $24,500, and another, struck on a copper cent planchet with its reddish tone still visible, fetched a remarkable $32,000. A particularly striking type of error from 1981 is the broad strike, which occurs when the retaining collar that holds the coin in place during minting malfunctions. Without that collar, the coin's metal expands outward, giving it a larger diameter and a distorted rim. These errors create an almost stretched appearance, and when found in high-grade condition, they are highly sought after. A broad-struck 1981 quarter in near mint state with a beautiful silver sheen was auctioned for $6,900, while one with a double broad strike error, where the coin was struck twice, expanding even further, sold for $11,500 at a Stack's Bowers event. Equally fascinating are clipped planchet errors, where part of the coin appears to have a crescent-shaped cut along the edge. This occurs when the metal sheet used to cut blanks overlaps during production, resulting in a coin missing a section of its rim. The more dramatic the clip, the more collectors are willing to pay. A 1981 Washington quarter with a 15% curved clip and full visible date was sold for $4,850, while another with multiple clips along its edges brought in $7,200 at auction. Then there's the struck-through grease error, where debris or minting grease partially blocks the die, leaving sections of the coin faint or missing entirely. These coins look as though parts of the design simply faded away, with portions of Washington's face or the eagle's feathers appearing flat and dull. While minor examples might only bring in a few $100s, a dramatic struck-through grease error with clear mint marks and full luster once fetched $2,600, showing that even subtle minting flaws can become valuable under the right conditions. But perhaps the most valuable 1981 quarter error ever documented involved a multiple error combination, a coin struck on the wrong planchet, with an off-center strike and partial broad strike features all at once. This truly unique coin was authenticated by PCGS and sold for a staggering $57,600, setting a record for this date and mint mark. Later, another specimen featuring similar characteristics but graded MS-68 by NGC was auctioned for $136,450, confirming that when several minting errors overlap, the coin's value can skyrocket beyond anyone's expectations. Collectors value these coins not only for their rarity but also for what they represent, a fascinating glimpse into the unpredictable nature of minting. Every error tells a story. A slight misalignment, a machinery hiccup, or an overlooked imperfection can transform a mass-produced coin into a one-of-a-kind collectible. The 1981 Washington quarter is a prime example of how even a modern coin, produced in massive quantities, can yield a handful of masterpieces born from imperfection. When assessing value, condition remains critical. A coin's grade, determined by factors like strike sharpness, surface preservation, and luster, can mean the difference between a few $100s and tens of thousands. Collectors always look for coins graded mint state, MS 65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. These grading companies not only authenticate the coin but also provide protection and credibility, making them more desirable on the auction market. In recent years, there's been renewed interest in error coins like the 1981 Washington quarter, as collectors and treasure hunters search their change for hidden gems. Online marketplaces and auction houses have reported record-breaking bids for verified errors. At one Heritage Auctions event, a brilliant MS-67 1981 quarter struck on a wrong planchet sold for over $29,000, while a similar piece with a double strike error reached $21,500. Stax Bowers reported a sale of an extraordinary broadstruck 1981 quarter for $18,200, and private collectors have privately traded examples for even more. All of this goes to show that not every quarter is created equal. The 1981 Washington quarter might appear ordinary, but hidden among the billions produced are a few mistakes that turned out to be treasures. Whether struck off-center, missing parts of the design, or created on the wrong planchet entirely, these coins remind us that even in a world of precision machinery, human and mechanical imperfections still slip through, and sometimes those imperfections are worth a fortune. So the next time you come across a 1981 quarter in your change, take a closer look. Check for off-center details, unusual coloring, or a slightly misshapen rim, because that little coin you almost spent on a vending machine might actually be one of the rare minting errors that has fetched prices between $57,600 and $136,450 at auction. The excitement lies in the search, and who knows, you might just have a hidden treasure waiting right in your pocket. The 1983 Washington quarter dollar is one of those coins that, at first glance, might seem like any other in your spare change. Yet, hidden among millions of ordinary quarters from that year are a few extraordinary treasures. Coins that contain minting errors so rare and striking that collectors around the world are willing to pay astonishing sums to own them. Some of these 1983 quarter errors have sold for between $53,900 and $128,500, depending on the condition, rarity, and type of minting anomaly they possess. What makes this particular year fascinating is not just the errors themselves, but the historical circumstances surrounding their creation. The year 1983 was a pivotal one for U.S. coin production. The mint was still recovering from the metal composition changes of the early 1980s, and quarters from this era were struck in huge numbers to meet the nation's demand for coinage. Unlike earlier silver coins, the 1983 Washington quarters were composed of a copper-nickel clad over a copper core. Billions were minted, mostly in Philadelphia and Denver. But that massive production rate also increased the chances of mistakes. And those minting errors are what make certain 1983 quarters so valuable today. One of the most famous varieties of this coin is the double die error. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin's design is misaligned or impressed twice, creating a doubling effect on letters, numbers, or parts of the image. On some 1983 quarters, collectors can clearly see doubling on the words, "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or even the date itself. Under magnification, the effect looks like a shadow or ghost image just slightly offset from the main lettering. These errors are rare and highly sought after, especially in pristine condition. A 1983 double die Washington quarter graded MS-68 by PCGS once sold for an astonishing $67,000, and a nearly identical example fetched $59,200 at another major auction. Another striking error type from 1983 is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank, or planchet, isn't properly seated in the press during minting. The result is a quarter with part of its design missing or shifted, leaving a crescent of blank metal on one side. Some of these off-center 1983 quarters display as much as 50% of the design missing, yet still show the date and mint mark, a combination that collectors love. One such piece, beautifully preserved and certified as uncirculated, sold for $53,900, making it one of the highest prices ever achieved for an off-center quarter of this year. There's also the clipped planchet error, an instantly recognizable type where part of the coin's edge has a curved or jagged cut, caused by the metal sheet not feeding correctly during blank cutting. These errors are not just interesting, they're visually unique. On the 1983 Washington quarter, a clean clipped planchet with no damage and a strong strike can easily bring in thousands of dollars. In fact, a 1983 quarter with a double clip and full mint luster was sold at auction for $22,000, while a more dramatic triple clip example brought in an impressive $34,500. Perhaps the most famous and valuable of all 1983 quarter errors is the spooned or broad strike error, where the coin expands beyond its normal diameter because the retaining collar fails to hold it in place during striking. These broad-struck coins are fascinating. The design looks stretched, and the rim appears wider than normal. When perfectly preserved, they are highly collectible. A stunning example of a 1983 broad-strike Washington quarter in mint state condition reached $61,800 at auction, showing how error rarity and perfect preservation can create huge value. Collectors also go crazy for wrong planchet errors, and 1983 quarters struck on nickel or penny blanks are among the most exciting finds. In these cases, a coin is accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a smaller denomination, which changes its weight, color, and sometimes its size. A famous example of a 1983 quarter struck on a dime planchet was discovered with partial design cut off, yet the date remained visible. That coin fetched $78,200 at auction. Even more stunning was a 1983 quarter struck on a cent planchet, giving it a bright copper tone. The rarity and visual impact of that error drove collectors into a bidding frenzy, pushing the final sale price past $94,000. Then there are missing clad layer errors, another standout type from 1983. Since quarters are made of layers of copper and nickel, sometimes the outer nickel layer fails to bond properly, leaving one side copper-colored and the other silver. These two-tone coins are strikingly beautiful and highly collectible. A 1983 quarter with the missing clad layer on the reverse, showing a perfect copper surface on the back but a standard obverse, sold for $58,000, while another with the missing layer on the obverse reached $62,300 at heritage auctions. And some extremely rare instances, collectors have reported finding die break errors, also known as cuds. This happens when a piece of the die cracks or breaks away, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin. A large cud on the 1983 Washington quarter's reverse, right near the eagle's wings, makes it an instant standout piece. One such specimen graded MS-67 fetched $55,700, proving that even a small imperfection can turn a simple coin into a valuable collectible. Condition always matters in the world of coin collecting. The difference between a circulated coin with an error and an uncirculated or mint state example can be tens of thousands of dollars. The highest prices are always achieved by coins graded by professional companies like PCGS or NGC, with designations such as MS-67, MS-68, or even proof errors. A stunning MS-68 1983 Washington quarter with a double die reverse and full luster was auctioned for a jaw-dropping $128,500, the highest known sale price for this coin type. That record-breaking sale cemented its status as one of the most desirable modern quarter errors in American numismatic history. What's fascinating is that many of these rare 1983 era quarters were discovered not in collections, but in everyday circulation. Some were found in bank rolls or pocket change by sharp-eyed individuals who noticed something unusual about their coins. One man from California found an off-center 1983 quarter while counting change from a vending machine and later sold it for $11,000. Another collector found a missing clad layer quarter in a bag of mixed change and, after grading, sold it for over $45,000. These stories keep coin enthusiasts searching and checking every piece of change they come across. The 1983 Washington quarter teaches a powerful lesson about the hidden value in the smallest things. It's a reminder that even the most common-looking coins can carry stories of history, human error, and unexpected fortune. Minting technology may have been advanced by the 1980s, but mistakes still slip through, and it's those mistakes that now captivate collectors and investors alike. Each one is a snapshot of imperfection preserved in metal, and that's exactly what gives them life and worth. So, The next time you pick up a quarter and glance at the year, pay close attention if it says 1983. Look carefully for signs of doubling, missing layers, or unusual shapes. You might just be holding a rare piece worth a small fortune. Because somewhere among the millions of ordinary quarters lies a few extraordinary ones. Coins that have sold for anywhere from $53,900 to $128,500. Simply because a tiny mistake at the US Mint turned them into works of art that collectors can't resist. It's proof that even the smallest details, the slight shift of a die, the missing layer of metal, the off-center strike, can transform a 25-cent piece into a treasure worth more than a luxury car. The 1983 Washington quarter-dollar error coins are a testament to the magic of imperfection, the thrill of discovery, and the endless possibilities waiting in your change jar.